Are the Glazers and Ineos finally going to wake up? Is Amrin going to get sacked? Can we hope to find a new manager in the dugout by the start of the next game? Is Man United, or do Man United have a chance of still being in the top four race if we get a new manager? Let's start the show and find out, see what's going on.
Starting on a corner.
What's happening, guys? Welcome to my YouTube channel. Welcome to Musa Reacts. Let's talk about Brentford this weekend. What a mess. What a disaster. To be honest, guys, first game that I've attended this season, being based down in London, sometimes I want to travel up to Old Trafford, but the journey and knowing the type of nonsense you're going to watch and have to watch after it's taking out your whole day to actually go Old Trafford, and spend your hard-earned money to watch us at this moment isn't something that a lot of us want to do, especially myself. But as it was in London, I thought, let me get myself down to the Brentford game, got down to the game. And because there was a lot of traffic and I was going there with a friend, I thought I'll wait outside. I got there on time for kickoff. But again, just because of how United are, I wasn't fussed. I was like, getting there 15 minutes late. What does that mean? By the time I got in there, we were 1-0 down. And by the time I sat down, the second goal went in. I was like, what the heck is going on here? 2-0 down at Brentford. First thing I did, I looked over to the manager and the guy is clueless. Turned his back onto the pitch. He doesn't want to see what's going on. He's pacing up and down the touchline. I spent a lot of the game watching Amrin and watching his body language towards what was going on the pitch. And what it seems like to me is that the manager himself can't bear to watch the nonsense that he's putting out there with his team. There's so many things that we can talk about in terms of the system or the formation. And the biggest thing is why I want to say this is that it's not the formation, because many teams in the Premier League play 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1, 3-4-3 like United do, like Palace do. But it's not the formation itself, but it's more or less the system and the instructions that are given to players in those systems. So if you look at a 4-3-3 at Arsenal, for an example, it's totally different to how they're playing it at Liverpool or how they're playing it at Spurs. Same formation, different needs and different things are asked for from the players in those systems. So again, United's the same. You look at us and Palace, both are playing 3-4-3, but the managers are specifically asking the players to do totally different things. What Amrin's asking Man United players to do is just suicide, and we're seeing it game in, game out. It's not a coincidence. Nothing has changed since last season. We've carried on as we left. And like I said before, we're going to pay for the sins of last season. And the reality is this, Amrin and what he's asking the players to do is just too much. I'm watching the game, and it's Ugarte and Bruno Fernandes in the middle of the park. And I'm watching it, and Ugarte's in there on his own versus Henderson and the other guy. And he's just like 2-on-1 every time. He's on there on his own. Bruno is trying to, support the attack. By the time he gets back, they've already gone through the midfield and they're on our defense. Just one long ball over again. You find our back three are under pressure. Sometimes they find themselves a lot in situations in a 1v1. It's never two defenders versus one striker. It's just problematic as a whole. And then you find when you watch the game, nothing goes through the middle. So whenever you find a player like Cunha trying to drop deep to pick up the ball, because we're not set up to go through the middle, he never receives it. We're set up to play on the wings. Our assists, our attack, all of it comes from the wing backs. And what you do see in the game is that time and time after again, if we're playing the back four, what happens when you're playing the back four and you have attacking left back and a right back is that when the right back or the left back attacks, he normally has a winger in front of him to overlap, pass the ball to. When Dorgu goes forward as the wing back after sitting so deep, he is the winger. There is no one in front of Dorgu to pass to. And then you find Dorgu in very good situations where he has to look and find a pass, and sometimes there's no one in the box, or he just doesn't have the final end product because that's not his game. Dorgu would be an excellent left back because once he gets to the halfway line, he has a, who's on the winger? He has an Ahmad, he has an Mbumo, he has a Cunha right there in front of him that he can, combination play off 1-2, or he can underlap and give a 1-2 and go. Like, but there's no one there, and that's the problem. Just the way we're set up, and the players that find themselves in these positions, whether it's Dorgu or Delo, it's a problem. And the only reason we had success in this because when Amrin played wingers there, like Ahmad, when Ahmad finds himself in that position as starting off as a right back and then ending up as a winger, Ahmad's a winger naturally anyway. So then he ends up attacking and, and his individual brilliance has got us a lot of wins and goals. And that allowed us to think that, oh, we have something here. But in reality, we don't, guys. We don't. And I feel like we've seen enough. There's no convincing me that anything's going to change. I'm not waiting for anything to change. I'm just sitting here thinking, when are we going to actually just get rid of this guy? When are we just going to accept it that it's not going to work under Ruben Amorim, and we just got to accept it and start to look for new candidates? We've been linked with a few managers. We've been linked with Glasner. We've been linked with who else have we been linked there with? Iarola at Bournemouth. And then I think another strong candidate would be Xavi Hernandez. I know we've been linked with the Brighton manager, but I think that's just hype. But I think the Bournemouth and the Palace manager, both good managers, looked at some quotes from Glasner talking about this, the formations that he likes to play. He spoke about, playing a 4-4-2 when he got promoted. Then he spoke about playing a 4-3-3. Spoke about playing a 3-4-2 like he's 3-4-3 like he's playing now at Palace. He's very he's very mobile in terms of allowing and facilitating for different formations based on the players that he's got. And when asked what's his best formation, he said he prefers a 4-4-2. So listening to Glasner say that he prefers a 4-4-2 and knowing that historically Man United have always been a 4-4-2 team, it did kind of make me think like, okay, we could have something here, because we know that based on his previous job and the job that he's done at Palace, he's a good manager. I know a lot of people wouldn't want to go down that path again because they're thinking we got to set up with a three at the back and people are tired of a three at the back. But I think because he's a manager that has played multiple formations, and he's clever enough to know that the fan base and the club as a whole would be like just had enough of a three at the back. And the fact that I think he will have the players to play a four, he will change it straight away just to be different from the old regime, just not to carry on that type of negativity that we've got from Amrin. I think Glasner will happily change that, so I'm not worried. And if he came through the door, I wouldn't complain after seeing that interview of him and talking about how flexible he is and his favourite formation. Before, I was a bit worried because of the three at the back, but I was never worried about his capabilities as a manager because of his previous job that he's done and what he's doing right now at Palace. Then we look at Iraola at Bournemouth, and again, Bournemouth are playing some good football. He has that type of Spanish profiling that you get from Spanish managers that come through a coaching academy and that play football the right way. And we're seeing that with Bournemouth. And just the fact that he's had this experience in the Premier League and understands it. But I would say out of the two between him and Glasner, I would say he has the less experience of actually winning anything. But I would say that he does play the better football on the eye. Whether it translates into the best football by how many points you pick up, that's another question for us to have. As Palace are unbeaten in 18, just beat Liverpool, the champions, over the weekend, convincingly as well at that. So it's an argument, you know what I'm saying? But I wouldn't be upset with any of the two, especially coming in after Amrin. But my favourite, as you guys have known for a while, would be Xavi Hernandez. And the reason it will be Xavi is that because he's done it at a big club like Barcelona. He's gone in there when there was turmoil and it was difficulty. And he brought in the young players like Yamal and I forget the defender that he brought in at the same time. But he also got Rafinha in on his tenure, and he plays football the right way. He's won a major league in La Liga. He's worked with a massive club. He's played football at the highest level. The thing with Xavi Hernandez, when he walks through the dressing room at Man United, nobody can say anything to him. None of the players, none of the staff, nobody can try to make him feel like the job's too big for him, the club's too big for him. Being a legend at Barcelona and playing in one of the best Barcelona teams we've ever seen, and being one of the best midfielders we've seen in the last 20 years, and play the game and win every major honor, World Cup, Champions League, La Liga, like he just won everything. I feel like he's the type of manager to command respect. He's the type of manager. He's the type of manager that will get the midfield under wraps. He's the type of manager that will bring in the right type of ball playing players that we want. A manager that would want United to be a team that dominates the midfield. A manager that has spoken about he likes his teams to not treat the football like a hot cake or like a bomb and pass it off. He wants them to treasure it, look after it, keep it, make it their ball, make it their treasure. When someone speaks like that, it tells you how much or how important it is for him to have the possession within the game. And I think to go back to a possession-based team, keeping the ball and actually having ideas on the ball, for me, that's just the way forward. And I think that's the way Man United to go. So I'm hopeful. And the differences between him and the other two is that he's available. He's not at club. You give him a phone call, he's here. And by the end of the day, contracts are signed and new ideas start straight away. So for me, looking at that, that will be the way forward. I think Ruben Amorim has kind of, he's set himself up to lose. And I think he's ready to go. You know, we've looked at Onana, the fact that we made such a big deal about Onana, got rid of him to then play the number 2 who was behind Onana. My thing is, Brian Deere weren't good enough to push Onana out last year when he was here. What makes him to be good enough now to be the first choice? You've gone in and brought in a new goalkeeper. Everyone's saying that he's a goalkeeper that has, a high future and a high ceiling, and is actually doing very well at Carrington. And why isn't he not starting? Because Brian Deere has never been that guy. That's problems that we have. Every time Kobe Mainoo comes on, just like he did at the weekend at Brentford, you find him doing the things that we've needed from the kickoff. So then, you beg the question, like, where's he been? Why is he on the bench? Why is Ugarte coming on? What's going on? Then you find the last game, what I found strange, I see Mason Mount come on and he was playing wing back. I'm saying, why is Mason Mount, even though he brings on the attacking players, he still puts them in defensive situations. He can't change it up. He can't say, cool, we've bought some attacking players and we're going to go 2 at the back and we're going to go, 4, or we're going to go 4-4-2, or we're going to go 4. We're just going to change it up because we've brought on some attacking players. He still wants the wing backs to be wing backs, and it's just madness what we're seeing at the moment. And I don't know. For me, it's not even the question of if, it's the question of when and who comes in to be the next Manchester United manager. And with what we've heard from Fabrizio Romano, the fact that Xavi has been studying the English game and the Premier League and getting a better understanding of, how the game is actually played here in England. But obviously, he's played many English teams in the past as a manager and as a player. But obviously, just wanted these type of managers are just, they eat and breathe football and they want to know as much as they can. So hearing that and knowing that he's ready, I think all roads now lead to the board, no longer to the dugout, and all eyes from the Man United fans should be on Ineos. And what does Ineos do? Do they make this move? Because for me, whether United beat Sunderland or not is neither here or it doesn't make a difference. And the fact that these teams are even above us in the league is shocking. They're above us in the league. I think they're sitting 4th or 3rd or something like that. What's going on here? Promoted teams are sitting 3rd and 4th, and here we are flipping just haven't kicked on from last season. That Chelsea win, I told anyone who was getting excited over the Chelsea win, when everyone knows 11-11, United lose that game. We only got an advantage because the man got sent down, and even when the man got sent off, and then we had someone sent off, all of a sudden you saw the reality of Man United and how good we are. So nothing's changed with Amorim, nothing at all. I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer got sacked for losing 14 games in about 75 games. This guy's already lost 17 games for Man United in less than 35, less than half of the games that Oli had. It's just madness. He's got to go. There's nothing else that can be done here. And I think he wants to go because of the type of interviews that he's given and his body language and the nonsense that he says. So again, man, it's time for us to just get a new start. For me, I'm putting my hat on Xavi Hernandez. I believe he's the man that comes and finally fixes the midfield at Man United, and also comes in at a perfect time when you can tell the club have spent money on the defense by bringing in Euro, De Ligt, Mazraoui, Heaven, a new goalkeeper, and they've also spent money on the forward line with Sesko and Zertsky and Cunha and Mbumo. All of that in the last 18 months, they've brought in those 4 attacking players. So the only place that we haven't really dealt with is the midfield. So you can tell the next window is going to be spent on the midfield. And who better to be in charge of Manchester United when we go in and buy midfield players to win and to take control of games in the midfield than Xavi Hernandez. So that's going to be my pick, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And guys, we're on the road to 3K. Let's get 3K subscribers. I'm going to start doing live videos on the weekend, and I'm going to get all the mandem on the channel. And we're going to obviously kick it up and talk about football and other things. But guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. A lot of you are watching the videos. Really appreciate the support. So subscribe, like, share the videos. Once we get to 3K, your boy's going live. I'm out.